Circumstantial evidence. I prosecuted many criminal cases based on this criteria. Even if my evidence was purely circumstantial and each piece of evidence would not convict standing on its own merits, I pieced each bit of evidence into a mosaic that would portray a larger, more complete picture. That total picture was designed to convince the jury that all of the facts could not possibly be coincidental. Together, all of the circumstantial facts proved that the suspect committed the crime. There are 4 pieces of circumstantial evidence that completely and totally destroys Kinham's theory that Noah's flood caused the fossilization of the dinosaurs. This theory is necessary to the young Earth movement because it is the only way Kinham can deceive his followers into believing that dinosaurs did not die before Adam was created. Kinham teaches that the reason dinosaurs could not have died prior to Adam's sin is that there was no physical death in the universe before Adam partook of the forbidden fruit. The Bible doesn't teach that. The dinosaurs did die before Adam's sin, but that conflicts with the young Earth theory, and Kinham knows that, and he has concocted some of the most ridiculous explanations to attempt to explain the facts we are going to present in this segment. I will present 4 pieces of circumstantial evidence to you that have nothing to do with biblical facts. This presentation has to do with the evidence that has been left behind in the fossil record. We will present this evidence in 4 separate exhibits. Exhibit number 1. If the young Earth creationists are correct, dinosaurs were not the only creatures on the earth at the time of the flood. There were also millions of men, women, children, sheep, goats, cows, chickens, and other living creatures. If the flood caused the fossilization of the dinosaurs, there should also be millions of fossils of men, women, children, sheep, goats, cows, chickens, and other modern-day creatures included in the fossil record. In fact, in Kinham's presentation describing the burial of creatures by silt at the time of the flood, he shows his audience a graphic that includes a person being covered along with the dinosaurs. I often use analogies that I draw from my experiences as a police investigator. There was a family of 5 that lived in a house together consisting of 4 adults and a child. There were 2 males, 2 females, and 1 6-year-old boy. Late one night, the house burned to the ground. The fire was finally extinguished by the fire department, and investigators began sifting through the rubble trying to determine if the house was occupied at the time of the fire. They discovered that the fire had been deliberately set. The police were able to uncover 3 bodies, 1 adult male, an adult female, and 1 child. There were 2 adults missing. Here's the logical conclusion. The 2 adults were not present in the house when the fire took place. In the same respect, it has to be concluded that human beings and every modern-day animal were not present on this earth when the dinosaurs were destroyed. If they were living with dinosaurs when the dinosaurs were destroyed, then billions of modern-day animals and man would be found in the fossil record. There isn't one. But Answers in Genesis, instead of looking logically at this one very important piece of evidence, attempts to convince their followers that it isn't important. On their website, answersingenesis.org, they say this. So ultimately, the debate is not about the evidence itself, where we find human fossils and dinosaur fossils. Nobody was there to actually observe humans and dinosaurs living together. We are forced to reconstruct that history based on our existing assumptions about time and history, as well as our limited fossil evidence from the rocks. As biblical creationists, we don't require that human and dinosaur fossils be found in the same layers. Whether they are found or not does not affect the biblical view of history. Really? Can you imagine if during the investigation of the arson fire I were to tell my supervisor that whether the 2 missing people are found or not, it doesn't affect my investigation? I'd be bounced out of the detective bureau and out on the road again so fast I wouldn't have time to put on my uniform. This mindset is crazy. This is another excellent example of Kinham trying to explain away a fact that conflicts with his young Earth theory. Exhibit number 2. There are no marine dinosaurs alive today swimming in our oceans and lakes. When the flood came and took them all away, there were millions of fish and marine mammals alive in the oceans and lakes. Every fish, from the yellow perch to the great white shark, survived the flood simply because they lived in water. Marine mammals also survived, from the dolphins to the great whales. If marine dinosaurs were alive at the time of the flood, swimming in the waters along with modern-day fish, why are there not millions of dinosaur fish swimming in the oceans and lakes today? There should be an abundance of live dinosaur fish similar to those we have found in the fossil record. There are none. Not being able to find one ancient marine dinosaur in the water today isn't just another coincidence. The logical conclusion is that when the flood occurred, there were no dinosaur fish in the waters alongside modern-day fish. They had already been fossilized before modern-day fish were created. But that doesn't stop Answers in Genesis from trying to deceive their followers into believing that at least one marine dinosaur fish has survived to this day.
Frogs have not changed, and neither has the coelacanth. The coelacanth, the fossilized one at the top there, and the one on the bottom, which is the one that was found in 1938 and living in the Indian Ocean off the coast of South Africa, and we've now found groups of them living off the coast of Indonesia. There's been no change. When they found this one, they got very excited because they said it was a living fossil. They wouldn't accept that evolution hadn't occurred. Oh no. The fact that they hadn't found one, they reckon, in the fossil record for millions and millions of years.
This is pure deception. There is no possibility that Answers in Genesis is not aware of the scientific research conducted on this fish. Dr. Scott Woodward, a microbiologist at Brigham Young University, extracted DNA from dinosaur bones and has stated it is like nothing we've ever seen before. So that fish that looks like a marine dinosaur is nothing of the sort. In fact, when it was discovered that this was actually a species of modern-day fish, it was assigned a new name. And the staff at Answers in Genesis is aware of this fact. So why do they continue to deceive their followers? Exhibit number 3. There are no modern-day fish or marine mammals found in the fossil record alongside fossils of marine dinosaurs. Here again, we have the same nagging question. If marine dinosaurs existed in the oceans at the time of the flood and were swimming side by side with modern-day fishes, then why are only marine dinosaurs found in the fossil record? Are we to believe that the massive amounts of silt that the young earthers claim covered all of the fossilized animals only covered the marine dinosaurs and none of our modern-day fish? There should be millions of perch, bass, pike, grouper, snapper, catfish, and sharks, along with modern-day marine mammals like whales and dolphins in the fossil record. There are none. Did they somehow avoid being covered with silt? The conclusion drawn from this evidence is that when the marine dinosaurs were destroyed and fossilized, there were no modern-day fish in the water with them. Exhibit number 4. There are no dinosaurs alive today. Ken Ham claims that dinosaurs were saved on Noah's Ark. Where are they today? You mean to tell me that out of all of the kinds of animals and species that disembarked from the Ark over 4,000 years ago, the only kind of animals that have become extinct are the dinosaurs? Of the thousands of kinds of dinosaurs that existed, confirmed by the fossil record, you would think that at least a few kinds would still exist today. The fact that there is not one dinosaur alive today is another piece of circumstantial evidence that dinosaurs never got off the ark because they never got on. They had already been destroyed and fossilized when the flood occurred. And again, Ken Ham is faced with this dilemma. How do I explain this flaw in my theory?
What happened to the dinosaurs? We don't know.
That's not necessarily the answer a jury would be looking for. But Ken Ham has admitted here that he doesn't know why there are no dinosaurs alive today. He doesn't know why there are no modern-day man or animal fossils included in the fossil record. He doesn't know why there are no modern-day fish found in the fossil record. And he doesn't know why there are no marine dinosaurs swimming in our waters today. Ken Ham just doesn't know the answers to these 4 very important facts. but he continues to completely ignore them, even though they conflict with his young Earth theory. 4 pieces of evidence that, if presented to a jury, would result in this verdict: modern-day man, animals, and fish were not present on this Earth when the dinosaurs were destroyed and formed the current fossil record we find today. A more plausible theory is this: at one time, dinosaurs, and only land and marine dinosaurs, roamed and swam in every part of this Earth. A catastrophic event devastated the Earth and destroyed all living things, plants, and dinosaurs. The remains of those land and marine dinosaurs and plants were fossilized and preserved to this day. There could not have been any modern-day humans or animals on this Earth at the time of this catastrophic event, or their remains would be found in the Earth along with all of the dinosaurs. Man had to come into existence sometime after the dinosaurs died. When the flood came, there were only modern-day animals and man to save. The flood fossilized nothing. When the ark landed, all of the modern-day animals and man disembarked and repopulated the Earth, and that is what we have living today: modern-day animals and man. If you have reached any other conclusion, you are simply trying to fit the young Earth theory into the facts presented. And you are like every young Earth believer whose illogical thinking makes you a perfect candidate for Ken Ham.